Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. Welcome to the Fostering and Lodging event. We have two wonderful guests today. Rosie Brookes, she's the Supported Lodging Officer at Surrey County Council, and Alison Keeley, who's the CEO of the Grange Centre. So how it all began, I met with Alison a while back and I visited her previous organisation, Link Cable, wonderful organisation. And then we just carried on the conversation. And at another meeting, she shared her experience of fostering. And that's how it all began. Then we got in touch with Rosie, who kindly now decided to share her experience as a supported lodging officer. Thank you, Tabitha, for being with us. This meeting will be recorded and available on the VARB website. Just a piece of ground rules, please mute yourself and share. Tabitha, which organisation are you from?
I'm not. I think maybe I've not. Maybe this is not really for me. I was interested in learning more about the process of hosting and fostering. I'm just a interested party. I didn't really mean to be involved. If this is the wrong thing, sorry.
No, absolutely perfect. It's for everyone. This is kind of in the Surrey area, Reigate and Banstead. It's we are VARB. It's Voluntary Action Reigate and Banstead. So we're expecting maybe more organisations coming from this area, but it's available for everyone. So thank you so much for being with us. So without further ado, I leave Rosie to give us a bit more flavour on how she became involved in this experience, and then we have some stories to share. Thank you, Rosie.
Thank you, Frida. My name is Rosie. I am Supported Lodgings Officer at Surrey County Council, as Frida mentioned. I've been in the role for approximately 4 years. My background, I have worked in schools for children with SEND for 9 years. I've also worked in a charity supporting adults living with profound multiple learning disabilities and complex needs before coming to the council. So I have my history is predominantly SEND. I've spent a lot of time supporting teenagers and young people, which led me into supported lodgings. So in supported lodgings, my role is to recruit, assess and supervise carers for vulnerable young Surrey teenagers and young people. We have a number of carers that support our young people. However, we are on the lookout for more carers. We have so many young people coming through, referred to us, who are in need of accommodation, support, care, and to be given that safe space to be able to enhance them to develop their independent living skills, ready to move and live independently on their own. So we're really looking, if we can, to increase our amount of supported lodgings carers to support our young people. And I have prepared a presentation. Frida, if you wouldn't mind popping that on for me.
Here we are.
Thank you.
See it? Okay, sorry, just go back. Okay.
Sneak preview of the presentation.
Sneak preview.
So supported lodgings at Surrey County Council. So we are the county council. We are well renowned. We have a host of foster carers and supported lodgings carers. We currently have 41 carers on our books, but we are always looking to increase our amount of carers. The more carers we have, the more young people we can support. And there are so many vulnerable teenage and young people in Surrey at the moment that we really need to do our best to try and support them. Hence coming to meet with you lovely people today. Next slide, please, Frida. Thank you. So supported lodgings provides young people who are leaving care with a safe family environment to continue to develop their independent skills. Young people are supported with practical skills such as budgeting, cooking and travelling, to name just a few. Our carers also provide strong emotional support for young people, which helps them build their resilience, confidence and self-esteem. And supported lodgings carers play a huge role in young people's development to become successful young adults. So supported lodgings is very similar to fostering in that a supported lodgings carer will support young people from within their home. We will match carers with young people we think will be a good fit geographically, personally, and with carers' skill sets. And in supported lodgings, you can be employed full-time and still be a carer with us. And that's a massive difference from fostering. With fostering, there has to be one person at home all the time. In supported lodgings, they say it's much more about building a young person's ability to fend for themselves, essentially, to be able to cook, to clean, to pay bills, to make appointments, to attend appointments, to find education and employment. And a part of that is learning to be on their own in a home setting. We do want every carer and young person to thrive in supported lodgings. So our statistics, we currently have 41 supported lodgings carers in Surrey and surrounding areas. And when we say surrounding areas, we mean kind of South London, Hampshire, a little bit of West Sussex and Kent. We do kind of go slightly out of the Surrey borders. We currently have 4 assessments ongoing, with another 2 due to start in the near future, which will hopefully increase our total of supported lodgings carers to 47. In September, we received referrals for 6 young people in need of accommodation and support. However, we were only able to offer supported lodgings to 1 young person, taking into consideration the matching criteria. And as a bit of a further update, I've just completed the statistics for October, and it's even more dire, unfortunately. We've received 11 referrals for young people, and we were only able to accommodate 1 young person. So that's 10 young people in the space of a month who we've been able to support. And it's a mix of factors. So obviously we take into consideration the matching, where carers feel they are able to support young people with certain vulnerabilities or risks, but also kind of geographically, we don't have carers in the areas that our young people need. So we're really trying to do everything we can to increase. And Reigate and Banstead is a massive, massive part of where young people are looking to move to. So if anyone does feel they would be able to offer supported lodgings, I'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation, but we would love to hear from you. So we really do need to increase the amount of supported lodgings carers we have to be able to support more young people in need. Surrey's vulnerable teenagers need us and people like you. You may be wondering if this is something that you would be able to do. So the main consideration is, do you have a spare bedroom in your home? If you do, could you provide a safe and stable environment for young people? Could you support and encourage young people in education, training or work? And can you be patient and willing to listen and to offer support and guidance? Would you be able to relate to young people and to enjoy their company? And if the answer is yes, we would love to hear from you. So the assessment process. So to become a supported lodgings carer with Surrey County Council, you'd have to log your interest with us, would be the very, very first step. On logging interest, we would contact you, we would complete an initial visit, which can be virtual and can be arranged at a time that suits both you and your allocated worker. So if you only have availability at 7 o'clock in the evening, we will meet you at 7 o'clock in the evening. If you can do 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, that would work really well, but we can work around your calendar, your availability. Second step, you would be invited to complete an application form, and then you would begin phase 1 of your assessment, which takes up to 4 weeks to complete. On completion of phase 1 of the assessment, we move on to phase 2, which can take up to 16 weeks. At the end of that 20-week period, when the whole of your assessment will be completed and checks will be completed, such as DBS, medical, health checks, local authority checks, we would attend panel with your allocated caseworker who's completed your assessment to look to gain approval and have you approved as a supported lodgings carer and able to support our young people. So the support that is available to our carers. Your allocated caseworker is available Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You can contact them at any time and they will get back in contact with you as soon as they can. You can also contact Supported Lodgings Duty Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 via email and phone. There is an out-of-hours phone support service available from 6 to 11 PM on weekdays and 10 to 11 PM all weekends and bank holidays. And that's including Easter Sunday, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, every single day of the year is covered. There is always support available to you if you become a carer with us. The emergency duty team is also available 6 to 11 p.m. on weekdays and 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. all weekends and bank holidays. And then, of course, there's the emergency services, if required, for everyone. Ongoing support that is available. So once approved, you'll have ongoing support from your allocated caseworker in the form of regular communications as and when needed, 6 weekly supervision visits, which can be more often if required, for either yourselves or your young people you're supporting, and annual reviews. We hold twice annual development days for supported lodgings carers, which tend to run on a Saturday. They're based from Woodhatch, and they tend to run approximately 9:30 to 2 o'clock. We also hold support groups virtually for carers to attend, and we have different training offers such as Olive and the Training Hub. There's SharePoint available, which has lots of information about fostering, about caring, about our teenagers, and the fostering network is also available for training and additional support. So, applying to become a supported lodgings carer. The first thing you can do is log your interest with me, whether it's just a more in-depth conversation about supported lodgings in a one-to-one setting, or if you'd like to start the process of becoming a carer, you can email me directly at rosanna.brooks@surreycc.gov.uk. Second stage will be to complete an initial inquiry, which will be completed by me or the supported lodgings duty worker of the day over the telephone. And the phone call will take approximately half an hour to take some of your details, understand your current position in terms of availability to support a young person and your home setup and your motivation for becoming a supported lodgings carer. If you have any further questions or you would like to learn more about supported lodgings, we really would look forward to hearing from you. I can post my contact details if required, but they are in the presentation also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosie. That was really, really, really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tabitha, if you have any urgent question, you can ask to Rosie. Otherwise, we have Alison with her experience, and there's going to be some like an availability to ask some questions at the end, maybe all together. Is that okay? I guess so. So, Alison, please welcome and thank you for sharing your experience. If you could kindly share how it all began for you, how did you contact Rosie, and what anyone who would like, who is interested in lodging, kind of what are the challenges they could face, or the marvelous thing and joys. Thank you.
Sure. So I've been a supported lodgings carer for about 2 years now. And I think I probably first contacted the team about 2.5 years ago, and then had a conversation. I'd attended an evening meeting that I think Rosie presented at, actually, and I'd sort of seen a little bit about it, contacted her and said, I'm really, really interested. One of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit is the fact that it says it's a family environment, and that is all encompassing. There's not one version of family. So my family pre-teenagers was me and 2 cats. And then I've had at one point 2 teenagers living with me. Currently it's 1, but I'm planning to go back up to 2 in the new year. And it really is, family can look like whatever you want it to look like. I know I've spoken to some other carers where they're 2 flatmates who do the caring between them, and they're friends, they've known each other for a long time, but they're not in any kind of a romantic relationship. They're just supporting and helping. So whatever your family looks like is absolutely fine, and it will be welcomed. And also age isn't a factor either. You don't need to have kind of brought up a family yourself or had children yourself or be old enough to have done that. If you're somebody who is at a point in their life that you feel you could support a teenager, I would say definitely have a conversation with the supported lodgings team. So after I'd contacted, I had a referral process where I started having visits I had an online one, got asked to sort of do a quick tour of the house on Zoom so that they could see that I had spare bedrooms and kind of have a quick look around the house. And then it was conversations about why I was interested. I've always been somebody who was looking to kind of make the world a better place and a fairer place. And it really suited me that I was going to be able to help and support people who have, you know, come through the care system and are not getting what I considered to be the fairest start in life. So that was kind of my motivation for doing it. I was a primary school teacher previously, and that I definitely use, but I don't think you need that. I think what you need is just to be able to listen and learn and talk to somebody and know that if you get asked a question that's what's this or how does that work, it's okay to go, I have no idea about that, but we can find you somebody else who can find out. So at the moment, I'm involved in writing a UCAS form, which I didn't have to do when I went to university, and I've never had to do it, no idea. But within the supported lodgings team, there's people that we're being referred to, so that the young person I support is getting support with that. And actually, it's better they're getting direct support rather than me doing it. And they're one of the things I've noticed with that young person, who was the first person who came to live with me and has nearly been with me 2 years now. Next month it'll be 2 years, and their independence has grown hugely in that time. So form filling is definitely something that, even though their English was quite good when they came to live with me, they would not have been comfortable doing any kind of official form filling at all. And now they'll sort of go off and do that, and I might get pulled in for a little bit. What does this phrase mean, or how do I do this bit? So it's just to see just their independence in that sphere grow massively has been amazing. And it is absolutely an incredible thing to do. No 2 days are the same, no two young people are the same. So you just don't know what's going to happen. And people sort of say, well, what's it like? And you're like, it's like having somebody else living in your house who can ask you things. And the other young person that I had who came to live with me was with me for a year. Another reason that I wanted to help with the recruitment of more supported lodgings carers is seeing the environment that he came from and the difference in the support that I was able to offer in a home environment. So the young person that was with me for a year had been in basically a house of multiple occupancy, but with carers on site. So the children were 16 to, I think, 21. And there was always a carer on site, but it was a different carer every day, every morning. It was a different carer to the afternoon. And the young people in that house, I don't think any of them were being well supported. The young person that ended up coming to live with me removed himself from that setting because he felt unsafe. Whereas when he moved in with me, I'm the only one on duty, but you know, it doesn't mean I'm on duty all the time, but it means I'm that constant in his life, and I was able to offer care and support in a way that the previous people, I knew everything that was going on with him. Nobody needed to hand information over to me. I developed a really strong, respectful relationship with him, and supported him with his English and maths as well when he would allow me to do that. So that was tended to be 10 o'clock at night when he came home. We would do 10 minutes every day. It's not my preferred time for teaching, but that was when he was prepared to accept it. And I was like, okay, the fact that you're going to sit down with me for 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to take that and do it. I'm still connected. So he's now moved out and has moved up to Northampton, but I still talk to him on the phone. And the other young person who still lives with me, they are friends. So I hear things. And one of the bits of information I've had back, which was lovely, is that he now realizes why I was making a big fuss about certain things and trying to support him with them. And he said to my other person, the young person who I support, I really appreciate what Ali did for us, like what Ali did for me. I get now why she was, you know, because at the time they're teenagers, they don't understand why I'm going, you need to understand this, and this is really important. So now he's like, oh, now I get why she was making a big fuss about it. But it is, you know, you will get asked the strangest questions, things you never thought you would have to discuss or explain with somebody will get asked of you. But it's okay to say no. So the young person who still lives with me, I'd gone to bed the other night, it was about 10:10, and he said, can I ask you a question, through the door? And I was like, yes, okay. And he's like, what do we do about my driving license? I was like, I am not having this discussion with you at 10:10 at night. Let's do that when I'm awake tomorrow. But if he had said, I'm really worried about X and I'm feeling really uncomfortable, then absolutely I would have got up and had a conversation with him and sat down. So it is all about working out where your boundaries are and what needs immediate attention and what needs can kind of wait. The young person who still will live with me, his favourite type of food is food that's already been cooked for him. So I've tried to teach him to cook. He's not interested. He doesn't want to know. He's able to kind of make some stuff himself and he will please himself. I don't cook for the young people who live with me, and they quite like that because it gives them freedom and flexibility. One of the young people who lives with me, he'd been in a family setting previously, which is a foster home, and he said he found it really difficult that dinner was at a certain time, and he felt he had to be home for it. And if he wanted to go and make toast at a crazy time, he felt he couldn't. Whereas now he knows that, he feels he's got that flexibility. So he actually prefers that I'm not the custodian of the kitchen. I prefer it as well. It works for both of us, so it's really good. But he's been with me 2 years. He's got no plans to move out. He's hoping to go to university locally so he doesn't have to leave. And then we've got a spare bedroom at the moment that when the other young person moved out and went to Northampton, he and I had a conversation and sort of said we would have somebody else, but we just needed a bit of a gap. And also with me starting a new job, I just wanted to make sure I was going to have the time to give that person. And you just don't know what it's going to be. It can be both of the young people I've supported have arrived in the UK as unaccompanied asylum-seeking minors. So that means that you're involved in meetings with solicitors and things like that and supporting them with that process. But equally, there will be things like that will be with a person who was born in the UK, but it will just be different types of meetings. It's a lot of emotional support, but that it's, and then sometimes it's just having a weird conversation about what does this mean, or how do I do that, or if I wanted to go here, what would you do? The young person who's living with me at the moment is doing his A-levels, so history, law and sociology. We are having a lot of really interesting conversations about things that he's discussing there, and me kind of explaining stuff to him to make sure he's understood it so that he can access the learning. So it's really wide and varied, and can be anything from I've lost the key to my bike clock, how do I get the bike clock off the bike now? And me going, I don't know. Talk to your friends, I reckon they're more likely to have done that. Or it can be, if I'm traveling to this place, how do I get there? That it's just so wide and varied that you just kind of have to sort of, when you get asked something odd, just give yourself a breath and go, okay, right, okay, let's look at this. Or if it's something specific, then the team at Surrey are there and Supported Lodgings. So virtual school have been amazing for the young person who's been with me for 2 years, because he's not following a track that any Rosie, I'm going to say, I think he's quite rare in his speed of acquisition of English and of his track through ESOL, GCSEs and A-levels. But we've been able to go to the virtual school and say to them, like, what do we do? So I didn't know that you're allowed 3 years of free schooling if you arrive in the UK as a minor, and the college hadn't really realised that he shouldn't be paying for his course. So the virtual school were able to give me the words to talk to the college about on his behalf and say, I've been told to tell you this. This means he doesn't have to pay any fees this year. And they went away and came back and said, yep, you're absolutely right, that's fine. So, that's been really, really useful. But I've also ended up going into the previous college. They were both the young people where I went into for disciplinary meetings with them and kind of argued their case and sort of, got very mother hen about it, but at the same time felt that they'd not been treated fairly. So was supporting them. So it is hugely varied. But I also have a full-time job, and it all fits in around that. And it is absolutely lovely. I really, really enjoy it. And, it isn't that every day is a complete joy, and I do have to be naggy sometimes and go, pick this up, close that. And, but you would do with any teenager and with grown-ups as well. There are plenty of people I know who are not teenagers who I've had to have those conversations with. So it's just about kind of taking every day as it comes, and when you get the weird questions, giving yourself a minute to think about it. But it's just an incredible thing to be able to do. And I've seen the impact that I've had on both of those young people's lives, and especially seeing the young person who came to me for a year, the environment that he was in previously, and seeing the impact that was having on him. He moved into my house, and did not sleep anywhere else for the entire year he stayed with me. They're allowed, if they're 18, they're allowed to sleep somewhere else 2 nights a week, and if they're 16, young people are 16 to 18, they can sleep somewhere else, provided it's approved by the social worker. And he just chose never to do that. He was coming home every night and felt safe and could talk to me about things, and never, given that he'd come from an environment where that wasn't how he felt, it was really lovely to know that. And I know he was misbehaving at college because I went to the disciplinary meetings. He never behaved like that with me. And it's all about respectful relationship and about talking to people and listening and understanding, and then kind of working through it all together.
Thank you so much, Alison, for your precious experience. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. We have time now for a couple of questions. Tabitha, if you have any question, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. We'll keep an eye. I'll start with Rosie, if I may. How does the matching process work?
So as part of the assessment process, we have a long list. It's practically an A4 page of what we call matching considerations. And it's a whole list of risks and experiences that a young person might have been through previously. So things like smoking, using bad language, untidiness, and goes and covers things as well like mental health disorders, eating disorders, anxiety, depression, pregnancy. It's a whole list of risks or factors a young person might have experienced. So we go through this with the carer, and we would discuss every element, and we will take from this. We know what things certain carers might struggle with, or where we feel that their strengths would be kind of best put to use. So we have the matching considerations from our carers. When we receive a referral for a young person, it's a referral form, and we will go through the referral form and look on our database to kind of see if we have a geographical match. If we have a geographical match, we will then complete what we call a referral interview with a young person, where we will find out about them as a person in their own words from them. We will complete a risk assessment. So then we find out any information such as drug use, alcohol misuse, etc., etc. When we have that information, we will compare the matching considerations for the carer with the risk assessment for the young person. And if we think there's still potential for it to be a match, we will give the information from either party to the other. So the risk assessment and the referral interview for the young person will be shared with the prospective carer, and the carer profile will be shared with the young person to see if on paper both parties are interested. If both parties are interested, we will look to hold what we call an introductory meeting, where the young person will be supported to go to the carer's house, meet the carer, see the house, see the room that's on offer, get a feel for the kind of the local area, and see if it's a match kind of made in heaven, essentially. We will then check in separately with both the young person and with our carer. And if both parties are happy to move forwards, we'll arrange the young person moving in with the carer.
Yeah, and there's no obligation. So if the match can, yeah, exactly, it could be 2 weeks,
There's no obligation.
Years, could be.
And at any point, either party can say no. Nothing is set in stone. If a carer or a young person has concerns, they can both say no at any point. Supported lodgings only works if the young person wants to be there. If a young person does not want to be there, we will not force them to move into supported lodgings. They have to want to be in that environment and be receiving that support.
Yeah, my young person, the first one to join me, he had been and visited somebody else prior to me and had just not gelled with them at all and not felt he would be happy in that environment. And I also got shown somebody's details because it looked like a geographical match, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then when they found that I did not live in central Guildford, it was like, no, not doing it. And I don't live that far from central Guildford, but if that is what the young person wants, they're just not going to be happy coming to live with me. So, and I know that I'm doing a lot of A-level work with Rocky at the moment, and he said to me last night, like, if it's too much, you just tell me. I was like, I'll lock the back door. He never takes his key with him. And I was just like, if you come home and you can't get in, I'm having a night off. But he knew I was joking. I would never do that to him. But he, you know, it's good that we can have that chat and that conversation. But, you know, he knows that he doesn't want to go anywhere else. He's choosing his future accommodation choices as well, based on having lived with me, which at one point he was looking at moving out of Surrey, and it doesn't look like he will now. And it's because he's kind of found home there. It's taken him a long time, but he feels really comfortable in the local area now, and has found both people of his nationality that he's got really good relationships with, and then me, who's kind of like surrogate in some ways to him. So yeah, it's really lovely to see it. But there's a huge amount of choice. And I had friends who said that to me as well, and said, you know, what will he do if it goes wrong? And I was like, I will be phoning the Supported Lodgings team, and I will be saying, this is not working. It's you know, I don't want to be spending, it doesn't work if I'm spending all of my time saying, don't do this, don't do that, you can't go here, you can't go there, where were you? You know, if one of the young people doesn't come home at the time that they're supposed to come home, they are technically a missing person, and I have to report them to the police. If I'm doing that every night, then something has gone really wrong in our in the relationship and in the supported lodgings, and we need to look at it and work out, because with another carer that might not be happening. It's going to be just the environment and the relationship. So it is really important that works. And you don't have to be like with the young person that's been with me for 2 years, we are really close, but you don't have, you know, with the young person that was only with me for a year, we get on really well. And if I phone him, he will answer my phone calls and have a chat to me. And he phoned me the other day because he hadn't heard from me for a bit. And I was like, that is lovely to know that he kind of wants to check in with me as well, even though there's absolutely no kind of technical bond between us anymore. There's no responsibility on either side. We still have a good relationship. So it's really important.
And with hindsight, so now you were an experienced lodger, is there anything you would do differently?
I don't think so. I think it's literally about sitting down and talking to somebody and giving them space when they want it, and putting yourselves into their shoes, but also letting them tell you and giving them time and space. There's certain things you do just, yeah, absolutely. If there are absolutes, lay those out to start off with. And things like, you know, when the first young person moved in with me, he'd just turned 17. So there are also restrictions on under 18-year-olds that are put there by the state that then I have to then support. And so explaining that it's not, but then some of the things were there anyway. And, you know, so like to be home by 10:30 is not unreasonable. And I still request it, even though the young person's now 19. But if now he says to me, I'm going to go out until 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to this club, I will go, yeah, that's absolutely fine. WhatsApp me when you get home so that when I wake up, I know you're here. And whereas when he was 17, it would have been, no, you need to come home. I need to know where you are. And you know, but they are both incredibly considerate. So yeah, it's just about, there are some rules that you can't break. And then there are other rules that will get broken occasionally, and that's all right. So I don't have any smoking in the house as well, which my young person jokes with me that he's going to find a carer who will let him smoke in the house. So it's priorities, you see. It would be so much easier if I didn't care about that. But it's, you know, it's those kinds of things. And as long as you're really clear on that stuff and really, you know, give and explain it and give reasons, and then everything else is kind of is all a bit of a mishmash, because you just don't know what support that young person's going to need. You can have an idea from their profile, but until you meet them and get to know them and they trust you and you trust them, it does all kind of change. And yeah, but it's you know, the two that I've supported are very different, but we still have a relationship of respect and trust.
Thank you. And Lisa, do you have any questions?
Yes. So when you say young people, what is the age range?
So supported lodgings offer support to young people aged 16 to 21. We do occasionally extend up to the age of 25, but a young person has to still be in full-time education to receive that support, or have an additional learning need, or potentially be UASC and still going through trying to gain right to remain in the country. So if a young person remains open to the care leavers service, they can remain in supported lodgings. 25 is the top age we will consider. It's generally 21 though in most circumstances.
Thank you. And Tabitha had to log out. She said, thank you so much, really informative and inspiring, and thank you and all the best. So thank you. And maybe we have her email address so we can get in touch with her and ask if she wanted to carry on the conversation. Rosie, what are the main questions that people interested in fostering and lodging are asking you usually?
Usually it's around working. People always want to know if they can work and do supported lodgings at the same time. Quite often people want to know what it's like supporting a young person in lodgings. We know it's very, very tricky. And we know that in fostering, we know there's a massive shortage of foster carers as well as supported lodgings carers. And we know that it's most tricky to place teenagers. And where supported lodgings, we cover 16 plus, it's that really tricky age where teenagers are becoming young adults. They're really finding themselves, they're asserting their opinions and their character on the world, and we quite often get asked what it's like to be a supported lodgings carer for teenagers. And I hope I hope that Alison has helped to kind of dispel some of those myths, because the teenagers that we have in supported lodgings are absolutely wonderful people. The only reason they are with us is because they have had a difficult life so far and they've been through trauma, which can have its impacts on people. Trauma is and can be devastating, but there's so much support available for our young people, and when they are in the right place, things can completely turn around. And so many of our young people have done such wonderful things with their lives, having been in supported lodgings. And that's the hope we have for every single young person that we support, is that we can help them. We can help them with where they've come from, and we can help them become who they are.
Thank you. If I may ask the very last question to Alison, could you kindly share the most joyful moment you had with some?
It's really hard because there are so many. And because we laugh a lot, but there is a lot of laughter in the house. I'm quite a jolly person anyway, but I think one of the loveliest moments was the young person that was with me for a year has moved up to Northampton, and myself and the other young person I care for went up to meet him. So because I just kind of needed to assure myself that where he was living was okay and see where he was working and things like that. So the two of us, I drove us up and we went to meet him. And so he was showing me around his house and showing me the furniture he's bought and the TV he's bought. And then we went to see where he worked, and we went for lunch together in a Kurdish restaurant. I have a lot of fun when I'm out with them both, because we don't look, if you just look at us as a group, we do not look like we should all be together. If you are judging us purely by skin tone, you people do look at us, but people, all sorts of people, going around Asda in Woking is always fun. People hear us joking and laughing and go, oh my goodness, what's going on there? But to be in a restaurant with the two of them chatting away in their native language, and then people are like, why is that woman sitting with them? But the one who's moved to Northampton, he bought us lunch as well, and that was just absolutely lovely. Like, he was hosting us in his own environment, and he's got people up there who are supporting him, but he's also sort of standing on his own 2 feet, and to see that was absolutely amazing. And also, it's been hugely impressed with the other young person who I'm still supporting with their attitude to education. They've always found it okay to access, and they'd kind of sailed through their ESOL and their GCSEs last year. They didn't find it that hard, whereas A-levels they are finding incredibly challenging. And I did think they might just go, I thought it was going to be easy and it's not, and I'm just going to give up. He is an incredibly social young man who is coming home at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening to do 3 or 4 hours of study every night. to try and get the essays written and things like that. And seeing that is just amazing. So it's really, you know, and that's not me telling him. I've advised it. I've said, I think this is what you should do. But he's now realised that that is absolutely the way to go, and that he won't get through this year without doing that. And he's kind of like, I'm not going out this weekend because I'm trying to get this and this done, and I'm hoping I can go out next weekend. So that kind of attitude is just absolutely joyful as well. So yeah, there are so many moments when we have just laughed and had just absolutely beautiful times. Getting both times they have got their status to stay. I have cried, but it's, you know, but it's really, really emotional, and you get tied in with them. So it's making me tear up now thinking about it. But it's, you know, why shouldn't you? Anybody that says to me, you know, they're lucky to have found you, I go, no, I'm lucky I grew up in a country that I have not had to flee and that I did not feel unsafe in. They, you know, they're not lucky, but I am, you know, I would want them to be safe wherever they were in the world, but I would prefer them to have been safe in the countries that they grew up in and still be with their own families. So it's people when say they say, oh, we're so lucky to have you, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, they're amazing. They shouldn't, if the world was run the way it should be, they shouldn't be in my life, and I'm hugely appreciative that they are and love having them as part of my life. But you know, you have to be aware of all the other stuff that they've come through as well. And I know, like Rosie was saying, like when we went through the whole checklist of like what I would do, I was mostly yes, or yes, but I've never done that before, so I'd need a bit of support. And I know there's other carers who have their own kind of decisions to make, and I fully respect. You've got to do what's right for you as well. And if you're not comfortable having, you know, males in the house, for example, you know, I've got friends who were like, how, you know, what are you going to do? And you know, they're both taller than me. If there's like, if physically they're both stronger than me, but it's a relationship of trust and respect, and I've never ever felt unsafe with either of them around. And never, you know, the opposite. In fact, like one of, you know, even last night, you know, saying, you know, I will protect you, and I was like, you don't need to, but thank you for letting me know it's okay. So, you know, it's they are both absolutely adorable and really sweet and lovely, and I feel very privileged for that they're part of my life and I'm part of theirs.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alison. Thank you so much, Rosie. We can close the meeting, and yeah, Lisa now is going to stop the recording.